had we been in church on the third Sunday of Easter, we would have heard the story of the road to Emmaus. Two of Jesus' disciples, after the resurrection, are walking on the road from Jerusalem to Emmaus, talking about the things that had happened. A figure comes up along beside them and asks them what on earth they're talking about. They're astounded that somebody could not know what things had happened in Jerusalem over the previous few days. And so they start to tell him. The man who's with them interrupts and seems to tell them that they don't understand what's happened. They don't really understand the story that they've witnessed. And this person then starts to tell them from the beginning, not just the story of this man Jesus, but the whole story of God's people, right from the beginning, all the way to the present day. It's not until they invite the man into the place where they're staying and he breaks bread with them that they realise this person is Jesus, who had been walking alongside them on the road. Jesus spoke to those disciples about the story of salvation, because it is through stories that he did so much of his ministry. The parables of the New Testament that we are, many of us, familiar with, are stories that invite us to use our imagination to see the world in a different way. I had a great plan for lockdown, which of course these things never happen the way that you would like, but I was determined to make my way through my reading pile, which sits by a chair in the living room and usually gets is not touched anywhere near as much as I would like. It hasn't really happened in the way that I had planned, and I've not got very far through the pile. But I did decide to start reading this book, a book by Rowan William, partly because I admire him so much as a thinker and a theologian, a preacher and a teacher, but also because it was a very short book with very short chapters, and I thought it might be something more achievable. To make myself read it, I thought the best way to do it would be to make sure that I shared it. So I'm inviting you to read along with me. Those of you who are part of the congregation at St John's may have had my email and have already bought the book already, but if not, it doesn't matter. You can either buy it and watch the videos each day at a later time, or just watch the videos and don't bother with the book at all. I hope that I will be able to do some justice to what Rowan William says about the lives of 20 different people, some of them saints and some of them otherwise, but people that he thinks, through their story, a story that may be full of desperation or sadness, or a story full of glory and light, that through those stories that we may see something of Jesus Christ. It is being in the story of Christ that Christians believe is one of the most central parts of our faith. To follow him closely, but also to allow his story and our story to come together in a way that means our lives are close together and are one. Many of us may be living a different story to the one we had planned over the last few months. We may be living a story that has changed, in which our lives have changed dramatically, sometimes involving great pain and loss and sadness, or just finding ourselves not knowing what we can do and feeling helpless. There is, at the beginning of the introduction to this book, a beautiful paragraph that I'm not even going to try and paraphrase. Rowan Williams talks about how sharing the stories of these 20 people that we see something of the great story of salvation that Jesus tells those disciples on the way to Emmaus. Dr. Williams says, "The great story that Jesus is just one way of communicating what I think is a central part of the good news. The world is more than you ever thought. You are more than you ever thought. God is more than you could ever begin to think, and you are not trapped in the story you tell yourself about yourself. That vision is a gift worth sharing." tomorrow, I'm going to post a short video about the first person in this book, the first of these luminaries, these people who in some way show through the story of their lives something of the light of Christ. And that first person is St. Paul, a man of passions. An intriguing subtitle, and we'll find out why.